Good morning, and thanks for joining us. I'm Elizabeth Rollins, and this is News Now, taking a live look at downtown Atlanta. It's a cloudy start for some of you. It's also a rainy start for many folks in Georgia. Let's check in with Alex Forbes.
Yeah,
Alex.
and good morning, Elizabeth. Yeah, we saw rain and storms in and around metro Atlanta and North Georgia this morning, particularly on the south side. A ton of lightning in places like Heard County, Coweta County, that made its way across Spalding County, then eventually towards Butts and Jasper County before the storms finally began to relent. Here's a live look over Midtown right now in Atlanta. This is the coolest we've been all morning, 73. And when that's the coolest, you know you're in store for a warm day. A breeze out of the southwest at 11 miles an hour right now. Okay, here's Fox 5 Live Viper. Some rain cooled air down on the south side. 68 in Newnan and Griffin, 69 in LaGrange, 67 in Carrollton. Meanwhile, 74 in Rome, 72 in Canton, 73 in Gainesville, and we're hanging on to 75 in Clark County right now. Peel back the temperatures in the clouds, finding still some steady showers along and south of Interstate 20 this morning, with the lightning strikes a lot lower than they were earlier, 5 as opposed to 205 at times across parts of the area. Take you big picture here. You see a wave of showers moving down to the south. I think because we're seeing this now and because we're starting to see some peaks of sunshine, we will have the opportunity to see some more storms later on today as that line pushes down to the south. I would watch for some more redevelopment over parts of northern Georgia and northern Alabama as we work our way here through the day ahead. So for the weekend, here's what we've got on the docket now. 85 today, 60% chance of scattered showers and storms. Then for tomorrow, we'll say 83. So by and large, at or just above average across metro Atlanta and North Georgia. All right. So I want to point out something. 10 a.m. This is what the model thinks was going on an hour ago. And this is not exactly right? We're looking at more steady rain south of Interstate 20. So I point that out to say that the models, by and large, are not handling this pattern, if you will, well, and they typically don't. This is to be expected. All right. So as I play this forward, know that it doesn't have a good starting point, right? We're not seeing storms in Carrollton right now. We're not seeing storms in Cleburne County or in Randolph County, Alabama. So I don't expect the radar to look like this at 1 o'clock, right? The storms that were over here, they pulled it over there. Well, that's not going to happen. All right, let's pick it up for the afternoon. It has a lot of clearing here by 5 o'clock. I think this is a good place to pick up what's going on. Don't see a whole lot of activity through the overnight hours. Then we see potentially a wave of storms tomorrow morning. Not very strong, but again, along and south of Interstate 20, take it with a grain of salt. Into the afternoon, some more clearing. Notice temperatures get into the 80s with some more radar activity down on the south side, and then into the overnight, clearing out. And then Monday, this is kind of interesting here. This is a pattern that we typically see this time of year. It's called a ridge rider. You get high pressure over the Gulf and you get waves of storms riding around it. That's what would be happening Monday afternoon. So don't lock into the timing. Don't lock into the location. You know how it goes here on the forecast model. I would say this: between now and really Tuesday, I would just expect waves of storms, and the best way to see if they're coming is to look at the radar rather than the hour-by-hour forecast, because all of the hour-by-hour forecasts are going to be very spotty here, including this one, right? Now, I technically made this one, but this is for the whole area. This is not necessarily for your specific location. So we've got the chance of rain here through the morning and afternoon hours, mixing in some storms as well. We are all in a level 1 threat today with that level 3 out in the Dallas area. Damaging winds, large hail, and yes, a spin-up tornado risk. Then for tomorrow, something similar, right? Damaging winds, large hail, and a spin-up tornado risk. Then for Monday, this would be that Ridge Rider day. I would watch for adjustments to this, because if we do see that type of Ridge Rider pattern, I think the severe weather threat might become a little more elevated, particularly that damaging wind threat across parts of north and central Georgia. So this is not a fun pattern, right? You're looking for waves of storms. We're always keeping an eye on it for exceeding severe limits. I think this pattern, though, gets blown out Tuesday night and into Wednesday. Now, the trade-off is that we are going to be looking at that level 2 in parts of northwest Georgia, and then a level 3 in Tennessee, Mississippi, and Alabama. That's going to be on Tuesday. So I'm looking for more of a Tuesday night into Wednesday type of event here for north and central Georgia. Now, another way to know that a powerful front is going to be on the docket is looking at the temperatures. So Elizabeth, check this out. 90 for Tuesday with a 20% chance of rain. This is going to be your front into Wednesday, down to 74 by the time we get to Thursday as a high temperature, with 54 to start Memorial Day weekend next Friday.
All right, thanks. Thanks so much, Alex. All right, this is the story that we've been following this morning. It's a story about those who've gone missing, but they're not forgotten. DeKalb County agencies are rallying around the number of cold cases, looking to revive them. We want to go to Tyler Fingert, who is joining us live. Tyler.
Yeah, hey Elizabeth, good morning to you. We're at the Missing Persons and DNA event in DeKalb County. This is at the building just because, the weather's not the greatest today. This is being put on by the DeKalb County Cold Case Task Force. I'm going to flip the camera around just to show you. These are just some of the cases that DeKalb County are dealing with right now. These are photos of people who they're still trying to identify, and so that they can be able to get families closure. Some of these are newer, some of them are older. The first one on the left there, 2024. This one from 1990, 2023, another 1990 case. And honestly, these are works of art, these pictures of being able to take, in some cases, skulls to be able to give these people some facial features and identity and be able to let people know that this may be what these people look like. I want to bring in the artist behind it. She works for the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, Kelly Lawson, the forensic artist. Thank you for joining us. How do you even start with making some of these? Because you're telling me that some of these come from like skulls.
Yeah, a good portion of them are actually from cold cases, which are typically skeletal remains. Sometimes I'll work from photos, but I really spend a little time studying each and every photograph, whether it's someone who's recently deceased, someone who might be in a various phase of decomposition, or if it's just a skull. And I've done so many at this point, I can look at a skull and tell you a lot more than you would actually believe you could get from just bones.
And a lot of these are works of art. I mean, it's almost like you see on like TV shows, those different those criminal shows or where they're able to take like a skull. I mean, that's pretty much what you do. It's a real life situation where you're able to take someone's body part of a head so that you can be able to try to get a face so that you can identify them.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, this is actually what I live for. In my mind, this is the last image that someone is ever going to have made of them, even if, after they're deceased, obviously. And therefore, I want it to be almost the most beautiful thing that I could possibly reproduce. I want the pictures to be so beautiful that people, when they see them fly by on Instagram or see them go by on Facebook, that they have no choice other than to share them to their feed. Because really, you'd be surprised. I've done hundreds of these cases throughout my career with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, and I've even had calls from family members in Michigan, for example, when I have drawn their loved ones here in Georgia. And I honestly live for this part of the job.
What I find so interesting is this was a family affair for you. Your mother was also the forensic artist for the GBI for years before she retired. You took her job, essentially. I mean, how did you get into this? I mean, this is something that, even if you're into art, this may not be the type of art a lot of people want to go into. Why do you find this so meaningful?
It is a really amusing story. I've always been good at art. I think probably any kid who grows up in the household with someone who excels at anything is going to then take an interest in whatever that particular field is. So I've always been really good at art. I got a scholarship to go to any school I wanted to go, and as long as I was a declared art major. So I went ahead and got my art degree, and I put it on the shelf just like most people with an art degree, and didn't expect to do anything with it. And my mom approached me one day. Now, obviously, she was extremely successful. She had a reputation throughout the country for being extremely talented and she had a lot of success and really a lot of renown when she was doing this work. So those are some pretty big shoes to fill. She had attempted to train a few people before me, and she was having some difficulty. And so she came to me one day and she said, "Kelly, can you still draw a face?" I said, "Well, Mama, it's been a little while since I drew a face, but I'll give it a try." I did. I drew a picture for her right there on the spot in Sunday dinner, and she gave me the greatest compliment she'd ever given me to that point, which was, "It ain't great, but it's better than everybody else was drawing." So she took a chance on me, and to tell you the truth, it was some very large shoes to fill, but the motivation for doing it are the victims that you meet with when you're doing composite drawings, or the unidentified, deceased people. It tugs at your heart so much that you can't help but continue to get better and to be the best you can be, because you feel like they deserve more than you can even give them. So that's what keeps me coming back.
So I'm showing some of these right now, one from 95, one from 1990, another from 2018. When I was talking to DeKalb County a couple days ago for a preview story on this event for Fox 5, they were telling me that you are scary good at this, being able to be accurate in a lot of cases, down to 90, 95%. Like when you, let's say if this person right here is ever identified, it would be 90 to 95%, if not 100%, exactly what that person actually looked like when you see the photos. How do you, that's got to feel good that you're able to give them that picture, a portrait, to be able to help the families looking for them and give them closure. And in some cases, some of these are murders or homicides, and that they are able to hopefully find a suspect and then put them away.
Yeah, DeKalb County is flattering me a bit, but I really do live for these cases. And I think, like with anything in life, you don't just start out and become good at it immediately. I've put 13 years of blood, sweat, and tears into getting good. I read constantly. I talk to people in my field constantly. And with each and every case that you do, you get better, you understand more. And I've done hundreds, if not 1,000 of these by now.
Does it feel good to be able to help people? Because in the last year, a couple years since they started the task force here in DeKalb County, they've had about a dozen people they've been able to identify, and a lot of those were thanks to pictures. Does it feel good to be able to help close cases just with a work of art?
It brings tears to my eyes. Honestly, it's extremely meaningful, and it's meaningful to me that they put that much faith in me. And it means the world to me that they are working them so well. They're having such great success. And of course, I'm not going to lie, it does make you want to go, when you get one that's identified and it looks just like it. So,
Kelly, I appreciate you joining us here on Fox Local. I'm going to show some people, the rest of the people out for the event. Thank you again for the work you do. And again, these are just some of the other cases that are currently unidentified in DeKalb County that they are actively working. They are available online on our website, fox5atlanta.com. You'll see some of the agencies, a number of agencies out here. You can file missing persons reports or update current missing persons reports. They even have free genealogy kits available. People are able to actually give their DNA so that it can be used for law enforcement, so they're able to look for your loved one if you have someone missing. And they're really stressing that for people who are missing loved ones to be able to help make that possible, so that they're able to help find them and bring closure to families who are actively searching for someone. And I'm just coming over to some of the missing persons cases here in our area in Georgia. You can just see just how many, so many, along on these boards here. And these are just cases that people are still, hoping for, families that are hoping to be able to get answers and be able to find who they're looking for. And the folks who are coming out here until about noon today at Legacy Park in Decatur, they're hearing from different folks. Sherry Boston, the DA of DeKalb County, speaking right now. You're going to hear from her just about a half hour when I join you guys again here on Fox Local. But Elizabeth, so many folks out here. There was a walk earlier today for the Raymond Green International Outreach of Hope, which is an organization that helps people in situations with missing loved ones. His mother, Raymond Green's mother, lost her son just days after he was born more than 40 years ago. And she is still looking for her son. She's hoping DNA, if you heard her at 10 a.m., she's hoping DNA is where she's able to finally maybe be reunited with her son more than 40 years after his disappearance. Elizabeth?
What a fantastic event. I had chills just listening to that interview with that forensic artist. Thanks so much, Tyler. All right, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll have more news and weather. Welcome back, and thanks for joining us. I'm Elizabeth Rollins, and this is News Now. We continue to follow breaking news in Southwest Atlanta, where there was a deadly shooting this morning. We want to go to our Lindsay Tubman joining us now live. Lindsay.
Yeah, good morning to you, Elizabeth. Pretty limited details about what happened. Atlanta police were actually notified by MARTA about that shooting. They were out there on the scene investigating and trying to collect evidence, including surveillance video, interviewing witnesses about what happened out there earlier. Police gave us a pretty limited details about their investigation out there on the scene, and I'll let you tune in to what exactly homicide commanders had to say about the latest in their investigation.
So just after 6 a.m. this morning, officers with the Zone 5 precinct were alerted to a person shot here at 236 Forsyth Street by MARTA PD. An officer with MARTA PD was on the platform, heard a gunshot, looked over, and noticed a male lying on the sidewalk with another male standing over him. At this point, all we have is that male had a multicolored shirt on and went south on Forsyth Street. And that's what we have at this point.
On foot, left on foot?
Correct.
So the MARTA police reported this.
Correct.
And they saw a man on the street and another man standing over him.
Correct.
Okay.
That man that was standing over him ran?
Yes. More or less, yeah.
I mean, it's happened outside of a MARTA station when people are boarding Greyhounds, getting on the train station. I mean, how unfortunate is this to happen?
Oh, well, any murder is unfortunate, and especially here at the Greyhound.
Let's talk about this area in particular. It was just last month we were out here for another incident. I mean, does this area kind of see a lot of crime, and what do you guys do to kind of combat that?
So I don't speak to crime trends. I'm just for the homicide. So if you want to follow up with public affairs, they can give you an overview of the crime in the area.
Well, how concerning is it that it happened right between the Greyhound station and the MARTA station? A lot of people, as he said, coming and going.
Correct. Again, every homicide is concerning.
But this could have ended up different. I mean, if this person would have been blazing with their gun, shooting around, a lot of more people could have been hit by the bullet. So, I mean, I think what we're trying to get at is with the traffic in this area, how concerning is it when people open fires in this area, in a populated area at that?
Again, every homicide is concerning, and especially when it's in open air. So, at this point, he's unidentified. He does appear to be in his 50s.
And then the suspect, what does the public need to know about that person? Description, any little...
Well, all we have right now is a black male in a multicolored shirt. So homicide detectives are going through camera footage to see if we can get a better description to put out.
Were they trying to get on a train, or were they, like, what they were doing?
No, all we had was when the MARTA officer heard the gunshots, looked over and saw the decedent on the ground, and the suspect turned over.
Was the guy chilling right over there? Just hanging out by that little
took place
sign?
underneath the
Okay.
awning.
Okay.
Yes.
There's, at this point, no indication what may have led to this, the circumstances surrounding it.
No. Yes, there's cameras in the area.
Yeah, you heard it there from Atlanta Police Homicide Commander, what exactly the latest is in their investigation. No word about that victim or suspect at this time, but as soon as we get those updates, of course, we'll let you know. For now, that is the latest live here in downtown. I'm Lindsay Tubman. Back to you.
Thanks so much, Lindsay. Well, coming up right after this break, we are talking all things tariffs with Dana Fowle from the I-Team. That's right after this break. Elizabeth Rollins, and this is News Now. And I'm here with Dana Fowle from the I-Team, Fox 5 I-Team. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
You've been following the tariffs with the U.S. and China. We're getting a break.
Seemingly,
Okay.
well, there's a pause. So there's
Okay.
this big trade war going on between our biggest trading partner, China, the U.S. and China. And the U.S. announced around the first week of April that there would be very stiff tariffs.
Right.
And within that week, you saw what would be the buying of supplies, the buying of goods from China drop off. It's a cliff, and the visual shows that. It is a cliff drop,
Okay.
which meant 50% less than just days before of goods, which is apparel, electronics, all sorts of things, were coming into the U.S. from China. This week, the President of the United States and China indicated there would be a pause in this trade war, a cooling off. So that has happened, and that's good.
Okay. And so during this cooling off period, what can we expect?
Well, we were supposed to see this week maybe prices going higher, fewer things on the shelves, because there's this 4 to 6 week space where these goods would have been showing up. They would have started to show up, so we would have seen the 50% drop off. And it's like this, and you're thinking, what do you mean exactly? It's like trying to plan a vacation in July.
Right.
You don't wait till July to plan, budget, and make your purchases. You do it 4 to 6 weeks ahead of time. Well, that's what happened. So here we are in that 4 to 6 week space. So even though these two presidents of these two powerhouses have said, okay, there's a cooling off period, we still only have 50% of what we had before coming into the United States in terms of supplies and goods. So the cooling off period is good, but it doesn't change what's happening today.
Okay. And things could still go up, right? Or are we expecting things to go up? Is that still off the table?
Well, what we have is a situation where we don't know. I mean, there's still this uncertainty. Businesses don't like uncertainty. They like to know what they like to plan, because they're like you. They have to budget many weeks ahead of time, so they don't know. So they are, while this is good news that there is a pause and that maybe we can restructure the trading deal in a way that both sides can live with, it still puts businesses in a position of the unknown.
Yeah. And that being, we don't know how long this pause is going to hold, right?
Right. I mean, if the pause lasts a week and then they come to some sort of deal we can all live with, that's great. It doesn't relieve us of this 4 to 6 weeks bubble that we're sitting in right now, where some of the summer we may not see on the shelves exactly what we want to see. There may not be the quality or the quantity rather, and the prices may go up.
Yeah. And so what does this mean now for businesses specifically?
Well, I mean, if you're, it's one thing if you're a big business, you can take some losses. You can manage these losses, and there are a couple of things they could have ordered ahead of time, preparing for this and gotten this inventory in early, because they have the sort of spending money to do that sort of thing. They could also put some of these goods to sort of catch up with supply on airplanes and not just on shipping containers, but it's called air freight. That's great if you have the money, but it can cost up to 100 times more, according to data experts. Small businesses, mom and pops, cannot do this, and that is who gets really hurt in this crunch. And by the way, let me say, we're getting a lot of our data from a local business that is a global mover and shaker here. It's called Vision. And they do the sort of drill down on that data, and they do it container by container. They know exactly what's happening globally. And this is where our information is coming from.
And so potentially this could continue on into the holiday season.
Absolutely. It can, because for Christmas shopping, let's say there's some big items that everybody, wants to get. Large companies may start ordering that from China and other Asian countries as early as May. But certainly by the summer is when they start putting these orders in for Christmas. If things remain unclear, if the tariffs remain high, this will absolutely impact our holiday shopping and gift giving.
Oh, wow. So I guess what's this mean between now and then, really? I mean, for the consumer.
This is Kyle Henderson. He's the CEO of Vision. And we asked that very question, and this is what he said.
Store shelves will have less on it, less variety, less volume in the next handful of weeks, potentially through the rest of the summer.
Now, I live on a budget. You live on a budget.
Yes.
Almost all of us live on budgets. That means you're going to have to budget for the unknown, for anticipating some higher prices this summer.
Okay. All right. Anything else you want to add in terms of what our consumers need to know?
I mean, I think you just have to be mindful of your budgeting right now. I mean, the president himself predicted weeks ago when he said you may have less to give over Christmas. I mean, I think he had said instead of $30, $2, but you know what I mean.
Right.
What it means for the rest of us is you may have to really consider and be intentional about how you spend for a minute.
Sure. Definitely makes you think.
And also, when you have less coming in, let's say 50% less, there are people who unload at the docks. There's 50% less for them to do.
Okay.
Truck drivers have 50% less to move.
Yeah.
Kids this summer who maybe stock shelves at department stores, there's going to be 50% less to put on the shelves. So if that teenager says, I've truly been looking for a summer job and I'm struggling to find one, they might actually be right. We'll see.
But theoretically, it's supposed to be, it's going to be hard before it gets better, right? Because that's what the end goal is for us to benefit from, you know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I mean, wherever you sit on this, everyone has agreed on the same thing.
Sure.
That it's going to be tough.
Right.
Now, some people say no pain, no gain, and they're fine with that. Others say this is self-imposed pain.
Right.
So I'm not telling you which side to take on that, but what they do agree on is we are going to see less on our shelves for a minute.
Okay.
Now, how long that lasts is unknown.
Okay.
But we're going to keep an eye on it.
All right. Thanks so much, Dina Fowle with the Fox 5 I-Team. Always a pleasure. All right. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back, and thanks for joining us. I'm Elizabeth Rollins, and this is News Now here with Alex Forbes. It's such a dreary day. You brought the rain this Saturday.
Okay, look, here's my selling point, all right? Let's do this now and clear everything out for Memorial Day weekend. All right, that's what I have to offer. So a loud morning for many people across, especially the South Metro, parts of Coweta County and Fayette County. It's gotten into parts of Spalding and Henry County. Saw a ton of lightning. Well, now we're left with just some residual showers. 73 is where we stand now in Atlanta. Notice we're cooler down to the south. That's some rain-cooled air. 68 in Griffin and in LaGrange, 68 in Newnan, 73 in Covington, and 75 in Eatonton right now. Peel back the temperatures. See some heavier showers down into Crawford County. That's making their way towards Macon. Notice the lightning, though. We've seen a real decrease of that here in the last little bit. We've gone from about 30 lightning strikes to 0 lightning strikes in just the last 10 minutes. So we're really beginning to lose some of that energy, if you will, in the atmosphere. 85 today. We are still going to be looking at the possibility of some scattered storms with some peaks of sunshine through the early afternoon. Those temperatures there on the warmer side, and then 67 later on tonight. So the clouds, they're going to be building back in. We are going to remain in this unsettled pattern here over the next couple of days. You see rain chances and storm chances continuing here across parts of the metro, and also a pretty drastic temperature swing. We go from 90 on Tuesday into the 70s for highs by Thursday and Friday. This time of year, you know what that means, right? We're going to be looking at a pretty good round of storms that we're going to time out hour by hour coming up here in a little bit.
Yeah, always bring in a mixed bag of things. Thanks so much, Alex Forbes. We want to check in with our Eli Jordan. He's in Clarkston, south of Atlanta. Hopefully it's not raining there. Eli.
Hey, Elizabeth, it is not raining. It's actually starting to clear up a little bit, got some sun. I'm here in Clarkston at Refuge Coffee, celebrating 10 years of employing displaced refugees. And right now, the Burundi Drummers of Atlanta are playing, and you might recognize them from Black Panther, but let's watch them for a few minutes.
you're watching live as they celebrate refugees in Clarkston. Our Eli Jordan is there live. We'll check back in just a bit. Meanwhile, we're going to take a quick break. Welcome back and thanks for joining us. I'm Elizabeth Rollins and this is News Now. It's a rainy start to your weekend. Alex Forbes standing by with a look at your forecast.
Yeah, Elizabeth, it was a rainy start, and I think we are going to still mix in some storms through the afternoon, but it's not all bad news. We are also going to see sunshine across parts of the area today. In fact, we're seeing that right now across parts of metro Atlanta, north and central Georgia. 85 is where we're headed for the afternoon. We are on this uphill swing in the temperature department in terms of consistently seeing these mid-80-degree days now. Yesterday, we hit 89, just a degree shy of 90. Obviously, still have not hit 90 so far this year. Yesterday's record was 91, so we did come close to that. But 85 today, 83 for tomorrow, some scattered storms tomorrow as well. We are just going to be in this unsettled pattern as we work our way not only through the weekend, but through the first part of the week as well. Here's how it looks on the hour-by-hour forecast. And notice, this does not start with what we were just looking at a couple minutes ago in terms of some steady rain right now south of Interstate 20. So do know that as we work our way through the next several days, the models are notoriously horrendous, for lack of a better word, at handling these types of setups. So I'm going to slowly advance this through. I don't think what you saw there is going to happen, right? We've already seen storms around this morning. What I want you to do is take a look at the pattern, right? We mix in clouds, we mix in showers and storms. Don't lock in on the time, don't lock in on the location. Just know that tomorrow we're going to see some passing showers and storms across the area. And then on Sunday, that being tomorrow, then on Monday, yeah, much of the same. And on Monday's pattern, this is a little interesting to me. This particular model is picking up on what's called a ridge rider. We get high pressure down along the Gulf Coast, and then you see, boom, a wave of storms roll through. Whenever you get this and it's 80 some odd degrees outside, this can usually be a pretty interesting, damaging wind risk on Monday. So something I'm going to be watching trends for over the days to come, really hours to come now. And it's a fast mover, right, moving down to the south. But as for today, we are keeping the chance of rain around, and we're keeping the chance of storms around. Sunset tonight is at 8:33. We're just about 20 minutes away now from our latest sunsets of the season, which are offset from the summer solstice. Your earliest sunrises and your latest sunsets are offset by about a week and a half from the summer solstice. So Latest sunsets will be right around the 4th of July. All right, so waves of storms, they're going to come with severe weather risks where most of us are in a level 1 risk today. Damaging winds, large hail, and a spin-up tornado risk. I think that spin-up risk was what we saw this morning. I don't think we're anticipating any more of that through the day today. Then for tomorrow, yes, the map changed. We're all in this level 1 risk yet again. Then for Monday, as it's drawn now, it's just north of Interstate 20. So days upon days of a low-end severe weather risk is going to give way to a more substantial risk by the time we get to Tuesday. You see parts of northwest Georgia clipped by this level 2, a bullseye level 3 back into Tennessee, Mississippi, and Alabama. Now, this is Tuesday's outlook, but it goes until Wednesday at 7 a.m. So Wednesday, 7 a.m., you see that line in parts of northwest Georgia. I would be on the lookout for a strong cold front with the majority of the impacts on Tuesday off to the west, but then still some overnight storms, maybe some early morning storms by the time we get to Wednesday here across parts of north and central Georgia. Level 1s are not included 4 days out as of now. All right, so here's your Fox 5 Storm Team forecast. Best summed up this way: warm and unsettled through Tuesday, front Tuesday night into Wednesday, and then cooler and sunny for the weekend, at least as we work our way towards the weekend. Elizabeth, of course, that is going to be Memorial Day weekend, starting it off on a cool note here across north and central Georgia.
All right, thanks so much, Alex Korb. We continue to follow breaking news right now in southwest Atlanta, where police are investigating a deadly shooting. Let's go to our Lindsay Tuman, who's been following it all morning. Lindsay.
Hey, good morning to you, Elizabeth. Yeah, we have limited details from police on what exactly happened, but what they did tell us is that they got a call from MARTA police at around 6 o'clock this morning to the MARTA station off Forsyth Street. A MARTA police officer actually heard gunfire in that area, and when they responded, they found a man on the scene hit by that gunfire. Another man was standing over him. That man took off down Forsyth Street. The only description of him is that he was wearing some kind of multicolored sweatshirt. The names of the victim or the suspect have not been released at this time. Atlanta police are continuing to investigate. They say that they are interviewing witnesses and reviewing security footage at this time. But again, limited details about what exactly transpired or why those people were in the area, if they were MARTA customers or not. Of course, as soon as we get those details, we'll continue to bring them to you. But for now, that is the latest live here in downtown. I'm Lindsay Tuman. Elizabeth, back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Lindsay. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Meanwhile, listen to us on the radio.
You can listen to Fox 5 Live on the Fox 5 Radio 1 network. Just tune your HD radio to 107.9 HD2 FM.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. I'm Elizabeth Rollins, and this is News Now. Taking a live look at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. I spoke to AAA officials who say they're predicting a slower than normal travel season.
Trey Waiters from AAA, welcome. Thanks for chatting with us today about the summer travel season.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, y'all got a lot of data that y'all kind of analyze every year. What are y'all, what are the projected trends?
Well, let me tell you. So now that we are in the warmer months, the desire to travel across the U.S. is high. So I can tell you right now, in Georgia alone, 39% of Georgians plan to take a summer vacation. Not up too much from last summer. However, a big enough number for Georgians to want to get out and make sure that they're traveling this summer. I'll tell you something that's interesting, though. We do see that around 22% plan to take fewer trips this summer, citing concerns about their finances. So 58% cite, their finances are pretty low, so they're not going to be able to, take a trip this summer, while the other 42% is worried about the economy.
Yeah, I think, economy, like you just said, I mean, I think that nails it right there. Everyone is sort of, I think we're all kind of, budgeting, where we can and kind of holding on tight. So, this is kind of a unique summer season then, I guess you would say.
Absolutely. So here's the thing. Despite, the economic uncertainties, most Americans are still prioritizing vacation as an essential part of their life for summer travel. So travel is not just a financial decision, but an emotional one. So even if the economy isn't ideal at the time, if folks need to take a break from the everyday hustle and bustle of life, they will find a way to make a vacation happen. And what we found, AAA, is one way to do this to help with the budget is make sure that they use a travel agent. That person could help them with finding the best costs for travel, whether it's your rental car, your hotel, and so forth, being able to find those deals that maybe you wouldn't find on your own.
If you're thinking about getting a travel agent, maybe, okay, well, am I really going to save a lot more money if I go with a travel agent than doing it myself? What do you have any kind of insight on that?
Absolutely. Here's the thing. For instance, if you belong to membership organizations such as ourselves, AAA, if you call our travel agent, you're not paying an added fee in order to use that travel agent to help you plan. So look at different memberships with organizations. That's kind of where you save. And if you have kind of already scouted out what you want to do and where you want to go with your hotels or airline and so forth, look and see what other organizations offer travel agents assistance and just call them. Look, it doesn't hurt to call them up and compare prices. And of course, if your price is better, then, go with that. But again, along with travel agents also comes that added security of travel insurance. And a lot of times when we plan things on our own, of course, we don't have that travel insurance. So these are all things that travelers should think about prior to, their travel summer vacation.
Do you think more people are investing in that insurance this year because everyone's on a budget and it's, you don't want to lose that money. You can't afford it.
Absolutely. And think about it, if you're going international, you're paying quite a bit of money for that trip. And again, cancellations, you never know what could happen. Yes, It makes sense for folks to make sure that they invest in the travel insurance.
Airlines are offering a lot of incentives right now. Do you think that consumers are going to take advantage of that despite the economic uncertainty?
Well, right now, that's what we're seeing. Again, because, summer is just around the corner. And think about it, most folks hopefully have already made their plans because really we're looking at a couple of weeks before summer really starts, that hustle and bustle of summer. But yeah, it's just very important to make sure that we're staying alert and travelers are making sure they're keeping in contact with what's going on with their trip, whether it's airfare, making sure the travel plans, flight plans haven't changed. So yeah, I agree.
What role does gas play in all of this? I know everyone's always worried about gas prices. And again, with the economy as it is, where does that play a role in, do I go on a trip? Do I not go on a trip? Right? Is gas kind of that deciding factor, that airfare, that deciding factor usually?
Absolutely. But for right now, for the past couple of weeks, gas prices have been down, partially because of what's going on globally. And also, crude oil has been very low. And so, since crude oil accounts for over half of what we pay at the pumps, when we see gas prices go down, more folks are willing to hit the roads, which is what we're seeing here in Georgia, as a matter of fact, when we talk about that summer vacation. Over half, 58% of Georgians say they plan to hit the beaches for their summer vacation. And, again, most folks are going to be jumping in our cars to these destinations. So with gas prices being low, that's only a plus.
Yeah. What should consumers know going into this summer and where to budget? Where should you cut corners and maybe where you shouldn't cut corners?
So that is a great question. Once again, with summer being just around the corner, most folks have kind of already budgeted out. It's a great thing because 9 times out of 10, every year we see most folks travel by car. So definitely folks would be able to save money at the pumps. Again, with the economy being where it is, and our information is indicating that most folks will travel by car, so they're going to be able to save there as well. I will tell you that June and July are the peak months for when folks will travel. And our survey shows that 47% of Georgians plan to travel in June, and the other half will travel in July. And that is because you have to think about the weather at school. School is out for most kids, and that's just a peak vacation time. So bottom line, planning is key.
All right, Montre Waiters from AAA, thank you so much for joining me. Appreciate it.
Some really, really good advice there. All right, on the other side of this break, we're going to go to Eli Jordan live. He's in Clarkston where they're celebrating refugees. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. I'm Elizabeth Rollins, and this is News Now. We are following a very cool celebration in Clarkston. That's where we find our Eli Jordan. They're celebrating refugees and also their 10th anniversary. Eli.
Hey, Elizabeth. Yes, Clarkston, Georgia. Time Magazine said this is the most diverse square mile in the country. And, because this is where refugees come to, resettle after, leaving war-torn countries or, countries that are facing famine and whatnot. But Refuge Coffee is celebrating 10 years of being around, and they help give some of these refugees employment. And with me is the founder of Refugee Coffee, Kitty Murray. Hello, Kitty. How are you today?
Hey, I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good. So tell me, why Refuge Coffee?
So my husband and I moved here 12 years ago, and the first thing that happened when we moved to Clarkston is that we fell in love with our refugee neighbors. We fell in love with the cultures, with the just the resilience of our neighbors, and we started noticing some things that these were heroes that people didn't realize were such contributors to our country, but also that there was a need for better jobs. There was a need for kind of a space, like a warm, welcoming space that didn't have an agenda. And so we started I almost said Refugee Coffee. I can't believe that. Refuge Coffee. We started it 10 years ago to offer jobs to a few people, to create a welcoming space, and to tell the world a better refugee story. We decided that it was really important we're a country that welcomes, and we wanted to welcome the least welcomed. And what we discovered quickly is that we turn around and together, all of us, welcome the rest of the world together.
So how many refugees have you helped, would you say, over the years?
We have employed up to 55, somewhere around 55. Numbers, not my strong suit, from over 18 different countries. We supply a full-time competitive wage job and job training. And so we decided early on to go deep rather than wide, to join hands with our refugee neighbors to create this space that felt safe and warm and welcoming is our main job here.
And so, this gives them an opportunity to give back to the community as well. I mean, not only the economy, but they also, a misnomer, they pay taxes.
Refugees are givers. I mean, everyone that I know in this community is a contributor. We always talk about, they're going to take our piece of the pie. No, they help us bake a bigger pie. Like, it really is a joining together to give back to the community. It isn't, yes, we're a nonprofit, but it's not charity. Like, we're together working to give welcome to the rest of Atlanta.
And Clarkston is important to have.
Clarkston's our home base, but we also have shops in other parts of the city. And it has been a labor of love, of joy, of just beauty to be here. And I'm the founder, but my definition of a founder is the person that finds the people. And I think my job has been to just find people who are passionate about this work, who believe in welcome and kindness and generosity. And it has just not been hard to find those people here.
Awesome. Kitty Murray, founder of Refuge Coffee here in Clarkston, celebrating 10 years of giving refugees work and helping them, make some money. And that's what's been happening here. Earlier, we had the Burundi Drummers of Atlanta performing. They were featured in a Black Panther movie. And things are wrapping up, but inside they had tastes of all around the country, different, ethnicities of foods and teas and whatnot. And everybody's just been here celebrating the diversity of Clarkston and what Refuge Coffee does to help give refugees some employment when they come from the war-torn countries and countries that are facing famine. They come to America for hope and
all right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, taking a live look outside downtown Atlanta. We'll have a look at your forecast next. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Elizabeth Rollins, and this is News Now. It is a rainy start to your weekend for many folks across Georgia. Let's check in with Alex Forbes. Alex.
Yeah, good morning, Elizabeth. Not seeing the rain so much in Midtown, but we are south of Interstate 20 this morning. And as we look live towards Midtown, I've always found it hilarious. One, I love this view of the city, especially with all the new buildings right here. It's really closing in the gap between Midtown and downtown. But also, people love taking pictures on top of this parking deck. And you see somebody taking a picture of their motorcycle right now. So there you go. Happy Saturday morning to you. All right, it's 73 in Atlanta. This is the coolest we've been all morning. Most of the overnight, we were in the mid to upper 70s. Only officially at the airport, 7/100ths. It's a whole lot of inches of rain officially at Hartsfield-Jackson. Most of this rain, again, south of Interstate 20 right now, 75 in Covington, 77 over in Eatonton and in Athens, 76 in Gainesville. Notice it is a little cooler south and west of the city with temperatures in the 60s. That is some rain cooled air this morning where we saw a lot of those heavier downpours, especially around the 6, 7, 8, 9 o'clock hours. Here's what we've got on Fox 5 Live Viper right now. Just a steady shower through parts of Putnam County down into Monroe County. Troup and Meriwether counties really drying out, and Coweta now drying out in Hurd. And we've been mostly dry up to the north. We only saw a steady rain in the metro area for about 30 minutes. So this morning storms really fading away as they move down to the south. Had a handful of severe thunderstorms. Not anymore. However, I don't think we're necessarily in the clear for the day ahead. We will be looking at the possibility of some more afternoon storms across the area. And I want to just mention again, and you're probably going to hear myself, David, Joanne, Jonathan, Lauren all say the same thing. The models have a horrendous time handling the type of setup we have, and this is going to be in place really through Tuesday, right? So if you're scrolling on the app on your phone, anything like that, and you're looking at hour by hour forecast, I would take all the timing of everything with a grain of salt. And here's the reason why. Right, we're taking a look at a different model from earlier. You still see that it's not starting off at a great point. It's starting off different than that other model, but neither are correct. And it's really not doing a whole lot for us for the afternoon hours. Well, if we are not looking at necessarily the cloud cover that it's trying to put over the area, then maybe we're able to fire up something through the day today, and maybe we're able to see something tomorrow morning. It's just a lot of question marks around this. I would expect, just generally speaking, waves of storms through the weekend across metro Atlanta, north and central Georgia, and honestly, I would expect that to continue into early next week, Monday, and then by the time we get to Tuesday afternoon, that's when we'll begin to change things up. But as for today, temperatures in the mid 80s for the day ahead. 85 should be our high temperature. 83 tomorrow. Elizabeth, we get close to 90 on Tuesday. That would be the first time we hit 90 this year if we're able to get that warm. Only hit 89 yesterday. And then there are your changes late Tuesday into Wednesday. Organized cold front coming through. And when I say cold, I mean dropping us 15 degrees in the high temperature department. But where I really think you're going to feel it, certainly this morning, compared to the end of the week, is those morning low temperatures. Mid 50s next Friday morning.
I'm sweating just thinking about 90 degrees. All right, thanks so much, Alex Forbes. Well, happening right now, DeKalb County agencies are raising awareness and trying to revive their cold cases. Tyler Fingert is joining us live at that event right now. Tyler, there's so many missing people, but they're not forgotten.
Yeah, Elizabeth, good afternoon to you. Currently, there are 17 open cases just in DeKalb County for missing people who are unidentified, who they're actively trying to identify and be able to bring closure to their family. Let me flip the camera around and give you a look. These are just some of the cases that we're going to show you here. This one from 2017. This one doesn't have an image, from 2007, 2023, 2004, 1996. The oldest one dates back to 1987, found August 13th, 1987. This is a rendering, an artist that we heard from in the last hour was telling us how she is able to come up with these sketches of people. This case from 2020, and these are DeKalb County's cases. They have 17, and I want to bring in Bianca Lovelace from the DeKalb County Medical Examiner's Office. Thank you so much for joining us here. You're the director. You guys have 17 active and open unidentified cold cases that you guys are trying to close. You guys got a grant a couple years ago, $500,000 or nearly $500,000, and you've been able to close about 12 of them, and then you still have about 17 open. How important is events like what you guys did today about what you guys are trying to do to solve these cases?
It's really important. We so appreciate you being here and covering our Missing Persons Day event. It gets the word out to the public and publicizes that we need the public's help identifying these individuals. The more individuals that come forward and provide DNA samples, the larger our database becomes, and we can compare those samples against our unidentified remains to try to get people identified and bring closure to those families.
And people were able to come out here. I know the event just wrapped up for the day, but they were able to, if they wanted to, give samples to law enforcement and be able to try to pair them with people. It's for folks who already have people missing, correct?
Yes, but you may not necessarily have an individual missing in your family or friend group to provide a sample. When you submit your DNA, for example, to Ancestry.com or to 23andMe or any of those private sites, that information is not readily available to law enforcement. You have to opt into that service. And it costs a lot of money for the police agencies and for our office to get those samples submitted when a family comes to us. So having the public opt into those services, and so those samples that you willingly provide to those private companies, having those opted in to the large databases that we can then access is really the most important part of our event.
Well, what would you say to people who may find that to be like their privacy getting taken away if they give it to law enforcement? Because what are you guys going to use it for if they don't have anyone missing or anything? What would you say to those people?
Well, and that is a concern, and it's a concern I certainly understand with the public. But to get people identified, that's the way that we have to do this. We have to have those samples from the public, and they use them for identification purposes. There was a very, very high-profile case a few years ago, and a rapist murderer who had been operating for decades in California was caught because one of his family members had uploaded samples. And so it wasn't that his sample was uploaded, it was that the reverse engineering of DNA was able to identify him and identify a relative, and then they were able to then do some investigative work and find him. And so we can do the same thing with unidentified remains. And so yes, there is that privacy concern, but it's not an automatic. You have to be able to willingly provide that permission to the services that take your DNA in order to have it uploaded to those sites. And it helps us tremendously, and it helps bring closure to these families.
And so you guys got a huge grant to be able to be this DeKalb County Cold Case Task Force, a number of agencies, the DeKalb County District Attorney's Office, the Medical Examiner's Office. You guys have had huge success. 12 people have been identified. Some of them, one of them was dating back, I think, to 1987. Yes. Some of them were really old cases, and that you are making a difference to being able to identify them for families. Yes. And then you've been able to, in some cases, prosecute folks.
Yes, because a large percentage of the cases that we still currently have open, these 17 individuals that are on these photos here, a large percentage of them are homicides. And when you have homicidal violence, if you can identify your deceased individual and your victim, then you're much more likely to be able to identify a perpetrator. And so these cases go cold very, very quickly if we don't know who the individuals are. And so not only are we bringing closure to families when we get these individuals identified, which is obviously our first and foremost concern and our responsibility, but then we also can close those cases and help get dangerous individuals off the street who might have committed a very serious crime.
And so the success you guys have had, are you guys hopeful that more money will be able to come in from grants to be able to continue you guys' endeavors? I mean, in 3 years you closed 12 cases, you have 17 more. I mean, the hope is, I assume, to close all of those unidentified cases.
Yes, we would absolutely love to not have any posters to put up next year because we have identified all of our individuals. We will continue to apply for grants and to seek funding sources to be able to do this work. Again, it is a very, very expensive process to do DNA testing on all of these individuals, but we feel it's a worthwhile endeavor, and we will absolutely continue to seek funding sources for that.
And last question, what do you guys use that funding for, that nearly $500,000 you got a few years ago? That's used for like testing, right?
Yes, almost all of it is direct testing service money because, yes, it's extremely expensive. So I was mentioning earlier, if a family chooses, if I were to submit my DNA to Ancestry.com just to track down remote family members, I can opt in and take my profile and upload it to the site that law enforcement can then access. And if I do that as a private citizen, as a family member, it's free. If law enforcement takes that report and uploads it, it's $5,000. And that's not even for the DNA testing in and of itself. The DNA testing is also very expensive, and sometimes the first sample has no yield, and so we have to submit multiple samples to various labs that do different types of genetic testing, and it's extremely.
Well, Bianca, thank you so much for joining us. It's local this morning. We have much more on this on our website, fox5atlanta.com. We covered a story earlier in the week. You can look for my story there on the Cold Case Task Force and all the work they've done and the work they continue to do. And you can also find all of these cases where you can find pictures and information on them. We have the link for that on our website, fox5atlanta.com. Elizabeth?
Thanks so much, Tyler Finger. Well, we really appreciate you streaming with us this morning and into the afternoon. A lot of you have been streaming, watching us via YouTube, including you can be, whether you're in Metro Atlanta or outside of Atlanta. We're here for you, and we're here every Saturday and Sunday morning starting at 9 o'clock. Thanks so much. Y'all have a great weekend.
You can listen to Fox 5 Live on the Fox 5 Radio 1 network. Just tune your HD radio to 107.9 HD2 FM.